and welcome to the first episode of our podcast RNV Talks, in which we will be discussing many different aspects of the history and culture of the Roma minority. This podcast is released as a part of the project EUROMIJA, arranged by the Roma National Council of Croatia in the framework of the European Solidarity Corps. Today, our first talk will be about Roma representation in mass culture. We will dive into ballet, cinema, opera, and Turkish and Croatian pop culture.
Roma characters have been historically present in classical ballet, not only because Roma communities had been present in Europe for centuries, but also because artists in the 17th and 18th centuries were intrigued by anything that seemed exotic and distant from their reality. This approach was very common during Romanticism, and ballet choreographers simply followed the trend by producing ballet like La Esmeralda, Paquita, and Don Quixote.
Maybe you can tell us more about the main characters.
Sure, in all three ballets, the main protagonist is a girl. In Esmeralda, for example, the protagonist is a Roma lady that, thanks to her flirtatious mood and beauty, makes everybody fall in love with her. Her attitude is also remarked by the colors of the tutu and accessories she is wearing that are very bright and bold, differently from usual costumes that are often in pastel tones. Paquita, instead, is a girl who is not aware of her noble origins because she was taken from her family by a group of Roma when she was just a child. Basically, the whole plot is about Paquita finding out who she actually is, which allows her to marry a French officer she fell in love with. Lastly, there's Kitri from Don Quixote. She's at the center of the plot here because the ballet only takes one specific episode from the wider novel by Miguel de Cervantes. Kitri is not Roma, but a whole section of the ballet is set in a gypsy camp, as they would call it in the past, and ballerinas there do not wear any tutu, but rather dresses, and dance with their hair down instead of having them tied up in a ballet bun. All these elements are used to emphasize their freedom, sensuality, and even whiteness that were associated with Roma culture back then.
Are these choreographies still famous, or are they more a thing of the past?
Actually, all three of them are still performed by dance companies all over the world, and both the music and the choreographies are nowadays so iconic that they are part of the ballet canon, which is the list of ballet that are considered crucial in the evolution of this art. It seems that these images of Roma people are based on stereotypes or bias. What is your take on this? There surely is some sort of stereotype behind these characters, like the idea that Roma people live almost without rules and just by following the rhythm of nature. However, to be honest, I think that the worst element here is the concept that Roma people steal children, which still animates anti-Gypsyism today. However, I think that we should assess this ballet realistically, keeping in mind that they are the products of the time in which they were created, and that much of the attention we pay today to human and minority rights was not a thing. In general, I think it's good to see Roma characters in ballet, but we should always remember that this is more a fictional representation rather than a realistic one.
The Roma people are frequently represented in films, but in most cases only as background characters, and very few creators have built the entire plot of the picture around Roma. In this sense, Emir Kusturica, Yugoslavian and Serbian director, can perhaps be called the main popularizer of Roma culture in cinematography. Emir Kusturica created in his films a lens for international audience to explore Roma culture, although not everyone appreciates these films positively. Both movies, Time of the Gypsies and White Cat, Black Cat, use narratives of varying levels of seriousness to highlight both of the difficulties and joys of Roma life.
I've heard the opinion that Kusturica romanticizes the life of Roma too much. You said that his film also presented difficulties of their lives.
Yes, Emir Kusturica's films, despite being comedies, touch on important social issues for Roma, such as, for example, arranged marriages or connections with the criminal world. Nonetheless, within the framework of this film, the word of Roma people is a kind of magical word where music heals, people live in harmony with animals, and love defeats evil.
You mentioned that Roma holidays are widely represented in Kusturica's films. Maybe you can tell us more about this.
Sure, here it's necessary to mention the film Time of the Gypsies. The film features the important holiday for Roma, Day of St. George, Georgevdan, and important to note here that originally it's a Christian holiday. Firstly, a scene of a home feast is shown, and then a scene of a mass celebration on a riverbank. An important part of this film is the traditional Roma song Ederlezi, arranged by Goran Bregovic. It was this version of this song that became popular worldwide and appeared in many foreign films, for example, The Turkish Gambit and Borat. The scene of St. George's Day celebration on the river itself has acquired cult status and has become the subject of references in a number of films and TV series. Music becomes not only an important tool of the story but also an element of the character's worldview. No matter what difficulties happen in life, they are much easier to overcome with an accordion in your hands. And this is what the main character is taught by his grandmother. The romantic worldview is complemented by the world of vivid dreams. The protagonist, being at the point of his moral decline, realizes that with the loss of his dream, he has lost himself. Because, according to him, a Roma without a dream is a ruthless trudge and a mute bell.
What can come to mind of amateurs of opera is The Gypsy Baron, composed by Johann Strauss the son. The operetta premiered in 1885 and is considered one of his greatest works. In the late 19th century, Viennese operetta had become a significant part of European musical culture, and Strauss was already renowned for his waltzes, including the famous Blue Danube, and his operettas, such as Die Fledermaus. The operetta is based on a play by Hungarian writer Mór Jókai, and it is set in a fictional Hungarian village. The main themes of the operetta are human dignity, the all-conquering power of love, national pride, and the quest for freedom. The heroes of the Gypsy Baron are no longer the carefree characters of Strauss's earlier operettas, who led a life of indulgence. Instead, they are free-spirited and proud adventurers, contrasted with the wealthy nouveau riche and the government official. The Gypsy Baron premiered at the Theater under Wien, and it was an immediate success. The operetta has been regularly performed since then and translated into numerous languages, which expanded its popularity. It remains an important work within the operetta genre, and its joyful, exuberant spirit continues to captivate audiences around the world. Not only does this musical masterpiece provide its listeners with exotic characters and a intriguing plot, but also presents them with a fresh view on the complex world of Roma, making a contribution to changing their perception by society. As Strauss was extremely popular with his operettas in repertoire of theaters in different countries, this helped to remind a big part of world elites of Roma people, their desires and spirit of freedom.
How are Roma represented in the operetta? Are they romanticized?
The depiction of Roma people in the work is quite complex. While the operetta does romanticize them, it also reflects the fascination with exotic cultures of that period. However, the Roma in the Gypsy Baron are not just outsiders. They are portrayed as strong, independent, and capable of both love and wisdom. It needs to be said that a positive representation of Roma people was not common at that time, especially coming from a renowned composer like Strauss. He managed not to just include Roma characters into the operetta, but give them outstanding personalities and a significant role in forming the plot. This nuanced portrayal in the 19th century was a progressive step, even though the operetta cannot be fully separated from its colonialist context.
What is the plot of the operetta?
The landowner Barinkai was exiled from his homeland, and 20 years later his son Shender returns to his native land from abroad. The family estate passed down to him has been reduced to ruins, and now a Roma settlement occupies the land. Shender tries to court the daughter of a wealthy local pig trader, but she rejects him because of his poverty. Shender forms a friendship with the Roma, soon becoming their leader, and falls in love with the beautiful Roma girl, Safi. Then a big surprise is prepared for the viewers, so I recommend you to see the Gypsy Baron yourself and find out what happened next.
Today, I will be talking about the impact of Roma artists on Turkish popular culture. Even though they have faced many challenges and prejudice, Roma musicians, dancers, and performers have played a big role in shaping Turkish entertainment. Roma culture has influenced Turkish arts in many ways, but not all artists openly talk about their Roma heritage. There are many famous and iconic figures who are rumored to have Roma roots, yet since they haven't confirmed it themselves, we won't be including them in this episode. Instead, today you will get to know the artists who have proudly embraced their Roma identity.
You've mentioned Roma artists' influence on Turkish music, but what exactly makes their contribution so special? What sets them apart from other musicians in the industry?
Music has always been a central part of Roma culture. In Turkey, Roma musicians are widely known for their natural talent and deep connection to art. One of the reasons for a strong presence of Roma in the entertainment industry is their ability to master instruments effortlessly, many of them without any formal training. This tradition, often called musicianship, çalgıcılık in Turkish, has been passed down through generations, keeping Roma musical heritage alive. Roma musicians have had a strong influence on various music genres in Turkey. While they are most closely associated with energetic Roma music, especially the kind that are heard at weddings and celebrations, Roma have also left their mark on arabesque. Arabesque music is deeply emotional, often expressing longing, heartbreak, and struggle, themes that resonate with many Roma artists.
Can you tell us about some famous Roma artists in Turkey?
First up is Kibariye, one of the most iconic and beloved figures in Turkish music. Born as Bahriye Tokmak, she is particularly known for her deeply emotional voice and her powerful connection to arabesque music. What sets Kibariye apart is her willingness to embrace her Roma heritage, something that isn't always openly discussed in the industry. With a voice that perfectly captures the melancholic tones of arabesque music, Kibariye has touched the hearts of millions. Despite facing many challenges throughout her career, she continues to evolve as an artist, adapting her style while staying true to the core of her Roma identity. One of her most remarkable collaborations was with Spanish artist Concha Buica, which showcased her versatility and international appeal. There is also Hüsnü Şenlendirici, a clarinet virtuoso from Izmir, born into a musical family. From a young age, Hüsnü showed immense talent and went on to study at Turkish Music State Conservatory of Istanbul Technical University. His career took off through collaborations with renowned artists and groups, blending traditional Roma music with jazz, pop, and classical influences. Hüsnü's work with ensembles like Laço Tayfa and his own group, Hüsnü Şenlendirici ve Saz Arkadaşları, has helped bring Roma music to international audiences while still honoring its roots.
Is there anyone else you would like to mention?
We have Kobra Murat, a Roma musician and tailor from Istanbul. Known for his unique stage presence and vibrant style, Kobra Murat initially gained fame as a tailor, designing stage costumes for celebrities before eventually stepping into the spotlight himself. What sets Kobra Murat apart is his unwavering pride in his Roma heritage, which he expresses not only in his music but also through his bold fashion choices. In recent years, Kobra Murat has become a popular figure among the younger generation. He is frequently interviewed and invited to prominent TV shows and YouTube channels, and he is often seen at major events, parties, and gatherings hosted by influencers and pop singers. Finally, let's talk about Tarık Mengüç, another iconic Roma artist whose influence Turkish music is undeniable. Born into a musical family, Tarık became widely known for his hit songs and vibrant stage presence. He gained national fame in 2004 with his popular track Shakshuka and has since built a solid career by blending traditional Roma music with modern pop influences. One of his groundbreaking moments was in 2013 when he made history in Turkey at the Rock and Coke Festival by becoming the first artist to perform Roma music on a rock festival stage. Beyond music, Tarık has also appeared in TV shows and films, adding an extra layer to his public persona. His participation in the Turkish version of Survivor brought him even more popularity, where his sincerity and resilience captivated audiences.
Are there any Roma artists in Turkey who have moved away from traditional Roma music but are still making a huge impact?
Yes, one great example is Baran Mengic, the son of Tarık Mengic. Unlike his father, who is known for traditional Roma music, Baran has ventured into R&B, pop, and even hip-hop. His contemporary style has struck a chord with younger audiences, and he is quickly gaining recognition as a rising star in the Turkish music scene. Besides his musical talent, he is also an impressive dancer, which adds a whole new dynamic to his performances, making him a favorite among influencers and the younger generation.
So many people are unaware of actors who are of Roma origin, especially since many stereotypes about Roma people don't reflect the actual reality of their abilities and talents. Severina Lightman, a Croatian actress of Romani descent, challenges these exact stereotypes. From her powerful performance in hit TV show Sram to becoming the first Roma woman to grace the cover of El Croatia, Severina is changing the way Roma people are seen in the media.
Can you tell us a little bit more about her role in the TV show Sram?
It's hard to overstate how significant her role in Sram was. The show didn't just cast her as a Roma character, it gave her a leading role that was complex, raw, and deeply human. For those who haven't watched Sram, the show follows a group of teenagers, among which is a young Roma woman, Leila, who is trying to build a life beyond the stereotypes society places on her. It tackles discrimination, identity, and reality of growing up Roma in Croatia. Serena brought so much authenticity to that role, and that's partially because she wasn't just acting, she was drawing from her own experiences. Serena grew up in a Roma settlement in Međimurje County, and she faced many of the same struggles her character did. She had to fight for her education, fight against prejudice, and prove that she belonged in spaces where Roma voices are often excluded.
And what about Roma representation in Croatia before that?
Before Sram, Roma representation in Croatian film and TV was, let's be honest, pretty bad. Roma characters were often criminals, beggars, or comic relief. There was almost no serious, nuanced representation, and then Sram came along and flipped the script. It gave us a Roma character with depth, intelligence, and ambition, without reducing her to just being the Roma girl. It was a first for Croatian television. And it's not just TV. After Sram, Severina Lightman became the first Roma woman on the cover of El Croatia, which is a huge deal. That wasn't just about her, it was about breaking beauty standards and showing that Roma women belonged in high fashion, media, and mainstream culture. And let's not forget, she also became the first Roma woman to enroll at the Academy of Dramatic Arts in Zagreb. She's setting a precedent that Roma kids can and should pursue career in the arts.
Which brings us to an important question. How crucial do you think your education was in getting her to this point? Because for many young Roma, access to education is a huge barrier.
That's such a key point. Serena has said in interviews that getting a scholarship to study in Zagreb was life-changing. It wasn't just about learning to act, it was about being in an environment where she could grow, connect with other artists, and prove that Roma students deserve to be in these spaces. And by being the first Roma woman at the academy, she's showing others that they can follow that path too. When Roma kids see Severina in Stram, or in magazine covers, or studying at the top academy, it challenges the idea that these spaces aren't for them.
So, what do you think the biggest impact of Severina's success has been?
For me, it's visibility. When you grow up never seeing someone who looks like you on screen or in magazines, you start believing that certain spaces just aren't meant for you. Severina shattered that illusion for an entire generation of young Roma kids. She proved that they do belong. Her success is opening doors for other Roma actors. Just like Cinderella Boharic opened door for her by being the first Roma woman that won Award of Croatian Theater.
Hopefully, we'll see more authentic Roma-led storytelling in Croatian cinema and beyond.
That was all from us for today. We hope you enjoyed our little talk. You can find a link to all the articles we wrote on these topics in the description of this episode. Don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts and website to stay in touch with us and our job here at RNV. Bye!